Welcome to High Floor Fantasy. I'm Chad, and these are the top 10 running backs after Week 6. Okay, let's get into it. 1 through 10. Derrick Henry coming in at number 1. Austin Eckler at number 2. Najee Harris at number 3. Ezekiel Elliott at number 4. DeAndre Swift at number 5. Jonathan Taylor at number 6. Finally, he's getting some love there. James Robinson at number 7. Aaron Jones at number 8. Kareem Hunt, although he is on IR now, at number 9. And then Leonard Fournette at number 10. All right, let's dig in here. Derrick Henry, it's same with the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. I'm just tired of making the same thumbnail every week. His consistency, he comes in at number 68. That's the worst on the list. That is the red. He is the least consistent, but it's because he had that ridiculous ceiling in week 2 of over 47 fantasy points. He found his floor in week 1. His ceiling was in week 2. Going to Kansas next week, and I'm moving on. Number 2, Austin Eckler comes in at number 60 in consistency. That's in the orange. He found his floor in week 6. He set his ceiling in week 5. So his floor, this was this is just a bad break, sort of overall bad week for the Chargers. This is a one-off. He's still your number 1, and they're going to bounce back. So no panic at all on Eckler. Everybody is going to have a bad week. This was his bad week, and this was the Chargers' bad week. Okay, number 3, Najee Harris comes in at number 47 in consistency. That is in the yellow. His floor, he found his floor in week 1. He hit his ceiling in week 3. 86% of the snaps overall thus far. Going into a bye in week 7. Divisional matchup with Cleveland in week 8. That'll be something to watch. So he's still solidly top 10. He's a guy I missed. I didn't mess around with Pittsburgh at all, aside from Chase Claypool, and that doesn't look like it was returning on my investment. So he's going to be in the top 10 as far as I can see. Number 4, Ezekiel Elliott. He comes in at number 42 in consistency. That is in the yellow. He found his floor in week 1. That's cool because he's only gone up from there. And he found his ceiling in week 3. 7 catches, so we like to see that kind of involvement in the running or in the passing game. Coming into a bye week for week 7. The situation here is to monitor what goes on with Dak Prescott. He was in the walking boot. That it doesn't seem to be related to his injury from last year, but still something to keep your eye on. It's a good thing they can rest now for a week. But Ezekiel, just keep an eye on Dak. He's solid number 1. DeAndre Swift, another guy I missed on. He comes in at number 35 in consistency. That's in the yellow. He found his floor in week 4. He found his ceiling in week 1. He is a perfect example of how you can be good for fantasy and be on a crap team, right? You know, the team it can lose, but you can do great in fantasy. Sam Darnold's kind of a great example of that, although he is knocked out of the top 10 this week. LA Rams defense next week is going to be tough for Swift, but again, see, the team can have a bad week, but he can have a great week for fantasy. So keep him in there. Jonathan Taylor, finally, he had a lot of preseason hype. I stayed away from Indy. He came in at number 62 in consistency. That is in the orange. He found his floor in week 2. He found his ceiling in week 5. Excuse me. So he's been trending up for the last 3 weeks in touches, snaps, and in fantasy points. He is a legit RB1 contender now. If you were patient with him and you had him, now he is starting to return on wherever you got him. I hope you didn't go too early, but he is a legit RB1 contender now. Number 7, Jacksonville, James Robinson comes in at number 38 in consistency. That is in the yellow. The yellow. He found his floor in week 1. He found his ceiling in week 3. Undrafted guy. Clearly the bell cow now. He's the 3-down guy. His volume is solid enough to get him into the top 10. He's not a number 1 for me. He's a number 1 in Jacksonville. But he's a number 2 for sure if you got into that offense at all, if you were interested in Trevor Lawrence. But he's not going anywhere. Number 7. Okay, number 8, Aaron Jones comes in at number 67 in consistency. That is in the orange. He found his floor in week 1, his very low floor in week 1, and he found his very high ceiling in week 2. That's why he came at 67 in consistency. Derrick Henry was number 68, right? They are the bottom 2. Derrick Henry is the red, and then Aaron Jones is orange. 6 scores in 6 games. His involvement in the passing game is locking him in as a solid number 1. Don't let that consistency worry you too much, because when you get that high ceiling, it does skew you and can keep you in the top 10, and he's right where he needs to be. Okay, number 9, Kareem Hunt comes in at number 55. These guys are just so bad on the consistency thing. Number 55, consistency is orange. He found his floor in week 2. He found his ceiling in week 3. Okay, so this is Tuesday. I'm just making this. I just found out he's been placed on the IR, so you won't see him on the list for the next couple of weeks. Chubb is also out, so you're looking at Ernest Johnson and Demetric Felton. Or you should just do what I've kind of said all along and stay away from this offense altogether. All right, Leonard Fournette at number 10. Is this the year that he lives up to his hype? I don't know. Number 57 in consistency, orange. Floor he found in week 3. His ceiling he found in week 6. It is a crowded backfield there, and he came in consistency below Rojo and below Gio Bernard, even though he's above them in the floor rating. Some involvement in the passing game. I'm just cautious with this whole offense, and we'll just keep an eye on him. He's top 10 material this week. All right, that wraps up our top 10 running backs for after week 6. Please check me out on Patreon. You can head over there. You can get more stuff. You get more audio, you get more video, and you can download or print out color-coded PDF files that I have sorted by consistency and by floor rating. And a neat thing to do is to look at the standard deviation one, which is the consistency one. Look at the top guys that are in the green and see if you can find double green guys. That means they're in the top of the floor rating as well. Some of those names may surprise you, but those are the things that you can look for as trade targets or perhaps waiver wires if your waiver isn't picked over already. But check me out on Patreon. I appreciate it. Hang around for a couple of more seconds and you can click through to some more of my content. I really appreciate you. Thank you.